Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Two Tired Parents podcast. I'm Miles Weber.
I'm Heather Weber.
And we are tired. We
say
mean
that
it today.
every time, but man, today hits different.
I want to apologize to you and all of our listeners / watchers for every podcast we have done so far where I have started saying, and we're tired because, oh God. We moved this week.
We did.
And we thought we moved with a toddler, and you're severely
38 weeks pregnant.
Beyond, like, they said 38. It's got to be more. Like, I mean,
you can only go so far.
I mean, yeah, you can only go so far, but you're pregnant as hell. And that is a new level
of tired
that we have just unlocked. Mm-hmm. So I am apprehensive to ever say that we're tired again. For the universe to be like, oh, you think you're tired? That's really cute.
That's cute.
So
here's some ants in your kitchen.
Oh yeah. Here's some ants in your kitchen. There you go. Right on. Or you trying to figure out how to get your mouse working for your computer? Your son is eating a snack and he wants to show you what shape his cheese is now. It's shaped like your house, he says. And so these are all the things that you've just got to run back and forth into. So, but we're still dialing it in, and we are very, very excited.
Yes.
We have a special guest today.
We do.
We found him on social media.
Yes.
His social media handle is Dad Got Bars. Mm-hmm. He is a Emmy-nominated actor, as well as a very overqualified lyricist, I will say. He's got more analogies than an analogy machine should possibly have.
Which is your favorite thing.
Which is I love analogies. As a stand-up comedian, analogies and metaphors are my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. And so he raps on social media about such topics as postpartum, C-sections, dads painting their nails, which mine are kind of janky looking right now. I need to repaint mine. And also women not finishing their coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bret Green. Bret, how you doing, man?
Dude, you got all the hits right there. That's pretty much the comprehensive list.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right, and scene. We did it, man. There we go. We got the sound bites that we need, man. Yeah, my wife was showing me your stuff because, especially like the painting nails thing, because I've been painting my nails for a few months now, and so I loved the clap back. That you had about like millennial dads who paint their nails and everything like that, because that's always a thing. People see me with my painted nails. They're just like, oh, do you have a daughter? And I'm like, not yet. She's almost done cooking. I just like purple. Like,
and our son loves painting
do it
his
because of the kids.
Right? Yeah, man. Exactly.
That's
so, I mean,
so
we got the
cool.
kid right now. We got a son.
Yeah.
He's almost 4. And so we painted our nails together because he wanted colorful nails. But I mean, like, we will have a daughter in probably an hour and a half. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. I know that you are a millennial dad and a very talented rapper, very talented actor, but also you're a husband, man. I think that's where like some of your most viral content has come from, like the perspective of being just like an understanding husband. And so how long have you and your wife been together, and where did y'all meet? How did y'all meet?
Yeah, so we met the old-fashioned way, Bumble. We met on a dating app back in 2017. So yeah, we'll be together 8 years, married almost 6 later this month. So yeah, man, she's been one of my biggest inspirations for what I do. But I also say, like, without my kids, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And so without my wife, without my kids, I feel like I have no idea what road I'd be on. I mean, I was just like, I was just an actor. I was so focused on just trying to get on TV and get in movies. And I did. I did that. I had some success doing it. And I still do. But there was just like, I just felt like there had to be something more. You know, I've always loved making music. And then just having my daughter 4 years ago was like, oh, I actually now have something to talk about. And I don't know if you can relate. Like, I'm sure a lot of your stand-up material comes from your son, and your daughter and your wife, I'm sure, provides plenty of material too. And it's just like, write what you know. And I like really feel like being a dad and being a husband is kind of like my whole personality. And so I'm gonna just embrace that and do, everything I do, typically aligns with that somehow.
Hell yeah,
I love
man.
that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
What was like the first one that took off when it came to like parenting or husband raps that you did?
It was last summer, so last August, so about a year ago. I was just I was posting so much. I had this dream and this goal, and I found out later that this was a strategy that a lot of like independent artists who really made it big did, and I didn't know I was copying anybody, but it was like, I'm gonna release a song a week and try to do that for an entire year and just put out, and they're not long songs, they're like minute and a half long, so you can churn them out, especially if you've got a little bit of work ethic, and sometimes you just strike gold. And so I was churning them out. I was going, nothing was really hitting. And then this one video I posted on TikTok actually went nuts, and it was for the first time I felt like people were actually seeing what I was trying to do. And it was a song called Pink Toes, and it was about, I posted a video a few weeks prior, talking about something so unrelated, and my toenails happened to be pink. And some guy commented like, "Why are your nails painted like be a good dad?" And I was like, "What does he mean? Like, what do you mean be a good dad? Like, do you know who painted these nails? Like, you think I sat and painted them myself? No disrespect, but like, I was like, no, my daughter. Like, this is something we did together. Like, how do you not get this?" And so I had this idea. I was like, what if I write songs and reply to people who comment mean stuff to me, but do it in like a clever, witty, funny, not mean kind of way. I always change their username so people don't go and like, harass them. And I'm not a fan of cyberbullying, and I don't want to do that. So, I blur the name out and I write a song about this guy basically, and I started calling him clapbacks, where I was like, why do you have a problem with me wearing nail polish? Me and my daughter bond over this, whatever. And people just loved it. I gained like 50,000 followers on TikTok like overnight. Same kind of thing happened on Instagram. And then I realized that, people, it's kind of like reality TV. I'm like, people like this premise of like this misogynistic, toxic, outdated comment that this person leaves. And then you get this more like progressive, husband and dad who's like, you're wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. I'm not gonna be mean about it, but I'm gonna educate you and let you know why you're wrong, and why like maybe you should try to broaden your horizons a little bit. And those are usually the songs that people resonate with the most.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like everything you're saying in those rebuttals, or however you want to call it, is what everybody, like the nice people, are thinking online when they read that comment. Because there's plenty of times we'll read a comment on other people's things and we'll spend like 20 minutes talking about how just dumb this person is for it. And so you're saying what everybody's thinking at home.
Well, and also I really relate to like the underlying assumptions made with certain colors, right? Because it's just like, why are your nails pink? Why? And so it's just like you said, be a good dad. And it's just like, so what a part about this color means that,
or even just paint,
or the paint, just the paint in general means that I'm not a good dad. Because I had a joke about like, people seeing me wearing a pink shirt and they're just like, that shirt's gay. And I'm just like, homie, if this shirt made you think of two dudes in love, I don't think I'm the gay one. Like, I see pink and purple all day, never crosses my mind, but you got something on your heart apparently that you just really need to maybe give it a hug instead of rejecting it or something, man. So I mean, like, people being toxic in that capacity is more about them than us, but I mean, you do it in such a masterful way. And so it just flows so well, and the editing, the cuts, just like everything is just so well thought out, man. So I mean, the way that it shines through, I mean, you're really hitting the mark. So have you always been into rapping and hip hop? Like, has that been an aspect of your life that just kind of got propelled to the forefront later?
Yeah. So I, as a kid, like always loved hip hop. I was like, Mo Money, Mo Problems. Like I had the tape, like wore the thing out, like we're constantly rewinding, because there was always, remember there was the CDs, and sometimes they had the lyrics inside the CD cover, and sometimes they weren't. And that particular CD, no lyrics. So I would like go back and like write down each, and they're rapping kind of fast. So I'm like, rewind, write it down, rewind, write it down. And I just always, I loved like Biggie and Tupac and As I got a little older, 50 Cent, Ludacris, like all these artists, I was just like, these guys just seem so cool. And like the way they carry themselves, the way it sounds. Nelly was a huge influence. And so I really, really loved that culture. But for me, I come from the Midwest. My parents, I had, both a mom and a dad. I never sold drugs. I never had a hard luck story. So I was always like, well, what am I going to rap about? What would I say? I would freestyle in the cafeteria every now and then with guys at lunch. Same thing, never really had a whole lot to say. And I wasn't going to be one of those guys that was talking about, guns and girls and things that I didn't do. And so it was always like really difficult to come up with topics to actually make music about. So I got inspired by I liked Weird Al growing up, and so I was like, oh, maybe I could do some of the parodies, just make it funny, you know what I mean? And to me, I think that was kind of like a defense mechanism where it was like, well, if I just do funny songs, people won't think I'm actually trying to rap, and then I won't. If they make fun of me, I'll be like, well, I'm just kidding anyway. And then I started to the first song I wrote that was like serious was when my wife was pregnant with my daughter. I had this idea for a song where I was gonna like teach her some lessons before she was born about you're a girl, so if girls at school are mean to you, that's probably because they're just jealous. Or once you turn 21, then you're at a bar, make sure you always keep your drink with you, and just all these little life lessons before she was born that I just was like on my heart, and I feel like I had to get out. And when I did, I was like, oh my gosh, like that was so easy to write because I wasn't trying to be something I wasn't. I was literally just writing what I know, which is this love for this little girl who I hadn't even met yet. But I was like, I'm so excited to be a dad of a little girl. And so that was the first one where I was like, this is what I should be making music about. And so from that point on, everything I did was like, just the silliest things about like, oh, like I hate doing laundry, and like, how come the socks never match up? And then, so there's like the funny ones, but then you get into these more heavy topics like C-sections, you know what I mean? You're like, nobody talks about this stuff. Not even a lot of women talk about it, but definitely not men. And so I found that there was this gap that men were not talking about women's issues, or if they were talking about women's issues, they were so misinformed and they were so off the mark and so tone deaf in their delivery. I was like, why don't I just try to explain like my perspective of what I saw from like my wife's C-section, for example, or like her postpartum depression. I thought if I tell my story of what I'm seeing from my wife, maybe another man might see that and be like, oh shoot, I never thought of it that way. Or what's really been happening, most of my following is like 90% women. So I'm not surprised when you said that it was your wife that sent you my profile. That's always, if a guy reaches out to me, they're like, hey, my wife said I should watch your videos. But I think what's happening for me is because most of my following is female. My audience is primarily women. My goal now is to just help them feel seen. And if I'm the first or only man that truly they felt seen and heard by, that's the greatest compliment that I could be given, is like, oh my God, you see us. Like you actually took the time to put yourself in our shoes and understand that like a C-section is brutal. It is not the easy way out. Or postpartum depression is 100% real and not talked about enough. And women should be given some damn grace when it comes to, giving birth and not be expected to bounce back right away. And it just opened my eyes to so many things. And I start writing these songs about, women and what they go through. And then it's like, all right, well, you better, walk the walk too. You can't just talk the talk. So now all of a sudden I'm terrified of being a hypocrite. So I'm writing these songs about like, don't yell at your kids and support your wife and, help out around the house. And I'm like, well, if I'm saying all these things, then I have to walk in that every single day. And it's made me a better husband and it's made me a better dad.
It's beautiful. Like all of it's beautiful.
I'm wet right now. You just saying all of those things, man. I mean, yeah.
I mean, so much on what you said, women feeling seen, I think is a huge thing. And you're also giving, it's this weird part, I feel like, on social media, right? Where now if we see something that we like, there's that little send button. And so we can send it to a friend, we can send it to a husband, we can send it to an ex or whatever. And so I think that also is helpful of like, hey, I can't come up with these words to tell you, but I can send you
Yeah.
this video of somebody who can. And hopefully this at least helps start a conversation about it, because bare minimum it's a conversation starter on whoever you send it to or tag in it.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's the unfortunate side of just like it. Unfortunately, for so many men, it does take another man being like, "Hey, have you considered that maybe we're being a little dumb and uneducated about this?" Like, and it just that enough from another man might be enough to start the conversation for some. Unfortunately, not all, but for some men, just to be like, "Huh, maybe
Yeah.
it is hard." Maybe postpartum depression is a real thing, which is just seems like a dumb thing to say. The bar is so low you can sleepwalk over it, right? So it's like, so yeah, man. I mean, the fact that you're able to speak to those things is absolutely huge, and I'd imagine that mostly like you probably appear in more men's inboxes than a lot
They probably
of
don't.
things.
They don't want to see me. They hate to see me coming. I had a woman once tell me, she reached out to me and she was like, "I really love your music, and I try to share it with my husband, but every song I do, I had a recording of my daughter back when she was like 2, saying 'Dad got bars,' and that's at the beginning of every song. It's my tag. And she literally said she tried to show her husband a video of mine, and he couldn't even see it. He could just hear it, and he heard my daughter's 'Dad got bars,' and apparently he goes, 'Oh no, not this shit again.'" And so he knew right away he wasn't gonna like it. He was like, "Oh man, he's gonna call us out, isn't he?"
Oh, the fights you are unintentionally starting, but need to be
Hey.
had.
Oh, I just love that is the sound of them about to get their asses verbally handed to them. Is your
Right.
daughter just, "Dad got bars?" And it's just like, damn it. Oh my, this is the third time
here
this
we
week.
go again. Well, and it's like I was telling somebody earlier today. I was like, "Listen, my job and my goal is certainly not to break up marriages or like try to shed light on a marriage or open a woman's eyes to how she should or shouldn't be treated. But if if one of my songs or one of my videos makes a woman look at it and go, 'Huh, I wish my husband was more like that,' maybe it starts a conversation, or it starts something completely different and more extreme that like I said, certainly am not. That's not my goal, but I want people in general to be happy, and I know that marriage is hard. And if one person isn't pulling their weight, or one person isn't respecting the other person, like I want to give, and it's usually the woman. I want to give her the permission to speak up and demand that she be treated with respect and be treated, like the human being that she is, and like the daughter who of the man who you went and asked, like, "Can I marry her?" You know what I mean? Like, don't forget that you did all those things. And so one of my I just did this collab with a guy on Instagram. He goes by the Tired Dad. Really cool guy. He's a huge, he's got like 1 million followers, a huge creator. And we bonded over the fact that him and I both keep a photo in our car. He keeps his in his car. I keep mine in my wallet, of our wives when they were in like first grade, like their school photo. And he picked me up in Nashville last week, and we went down there to see him. And I saw it, and I go, "Is that your daughter?" And he's like, "No, it's actually my wife." And I was like, "Oh, that's wait, you keep a picture of your wife in your car?" He's like, "Yeah, it's just kind of like a reminder, that she was once a little girl, and I just gotta treat her right." And I literally pull out my wallet, and I was like, I do the exact same thing. I literally carry a photo of my wife around with me everywhere as like a first grader, because it's my reminder that my wife used to be a little girl. She's somebody's daughter. So if I'm gonna lose my patience or get upset or whatever it is with her, remember that she used to be a little girl, just like that little girl that I'm raising right now. And it just breaks me, dude. And I'm like, yep. I'm not gonna get mad, or I'm not gonna lose my patience. I'm gonna just give her a little grace, because she's just that little girl still, at some point inside of her.
Well, I think that's the grace that, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. But I think, like, imagine that's the grace. You're getting emotional now. That was good. That was
Second
good.
week in a
That's
row I've
second
cried
week in
on
a row.
here.
I
I've
know.
gone so good this whole pregnancy, and then 2 weeks in a row. So just keep going.
You're doing the
Just
good,
keep going.
doing the good work, man. It's true. Like, I mean, like, but that's what I'm trying to say is, like, the grace that we should just be giving everybody of, like, yeah, man, that bad misogynistic comment that came from a former child. Like, we all used to be kids, so even on our worst day, that might be our inner child expressing some big feelings that we don't know how to cope with.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, it's beautiful that you're able to keep that reminder. I love that. So, I mean, because like, we got pictures of us that we've kept on the fridge from when we were kids,
Yeah.
as a bit of a reminder. But, like, that perspective makes sense. So, and that's probably good that you pulled out your wallet and had the picture to be like, look, and you weren't like, man, that's real sweet that you do that. Here's $20. Here you go, man. But and then
Yeah, right.
also. Right. And then also what you had said earlier about, like, you never want to, like, break anybody up. But at the same time, I think it's important to acknowledge in a relationship and in a functional marriage that's going to stand the test of time, consistent, constant growth in a positive direction from both people is, like, one of the driving forces to make sure that that marriage is going to stand the test of time. And if you're in a place where you're not open to that consistent growth, then, and one person is, then, like you had said, yeah, no, maybe a hard conversation needs to be started to where somebody needs to understand their value and be like, well, I'm growing this way. You seem to be kind of, like, cozy right here, though, and that's not really aligning. So, I mean, yeah, man, if your content is doing all of these things and starting all of these positive conversations, whatever it means for them is whatever it means for them. But I think overall, it's positive conversations to be starting, right?
Well, and I think, like you said, marriage is hard in general. And then marriage, like, you're in this new, I don't even know if it's a chapter or a book when you have kids. It's like you're starting over, you're learning how each other parents, who each other is, how they show up for each other, while you're also, like, taking care of a family and a house and everything else. And so I feel like once you have kids together, you relearn each other. And so it is nice that you're having these out there to start those conversations. And then, like you said, leading by example in your household of, like, I'm sure so much is coming to you because you are practicing it in your own home. You are being the husband you want to be. You're being the father you want to be. And so it becomes easier to write these things because, like you said, it's something close to you and you know about it and you're practicing it. And that's huge.
Yeah, no, it's just pulling from just everyday experience. I'm constantly, and I also, it's a fine balance where I'm trying to, like, turn that off sometimes too, and be like, not everything has to be art, not everything has to be a poem or a song, or sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Like this morning, like last night, I was in the garage and we have this really cool product. It's called, like, Air Fort, I think it is, and it's this, like, big parachute type thing, right? And you Velcro it to a box fan, and ours is a ladybug. And you turn the box fan on, and it inflates this massive ladybug that we can go in and crawl inside. And my daughter yesterday found it in the garage, and she was like, "Oh, let's go blow this up right now." And it just wasn't the right time to do it. And I was like, "Oh, maybe later." And so when I was down in the garage last night after she had fallen asleep, I was like, "I'm gonna bring that up, and I'm gonna inflate it. So when she wakes up, tomorrow morning, it's up, and we can play in it, have breakfast in it, whatever." And you'd have thought I shut down Disneyland for her. Like, she was like, oh, she was so excited to get inside that little ladybug, and this thing was like a $30 toy that just. But it was like those little, like, intentional moments with your kids that don't need to be documented. They don't need to be written about. They don't need to be posted about. They're just those sweet, sweet memories that you're making that someday you're going to look back on and just miss like crazy. And so I'm constantly trying to just find balance of being like, just be here. Just enjoy this moment. You don't need a picture. You don't need a video. You need nothing of it. Just remember it. Just make it a memory, you know?
They'll never be this little again is the thing that I'm constantly telling myself. And like to your point of just like the wonder that they have with the littlest things. Before we came here, like I got the little box to try and get our mouse working for our computer, and my son was in there. He gave me a hug, and then he saw from the box there was like a little piece of cardboard, just a little like long piece that was kind of bent. And he just grabbed it and he put it on his head and he's like, I've got a helmet on. This is my helmet now. Like, and he's just running around with this little piece of cardboard just like on his head. And I'm just sitting there laughing, just like, you want to get the thing. And they're always just like cardboard.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough stock in cardboard for children because it can be anything for them.
Oh,
man.
yeah, he had because I have the tailbone pillow right now.
Yeah.
And so he put that on his head today and just ran around with that.
Oh,
So,
yeah. But you also spoke to a thing that I want to ask you more about, which is like being in the present moment with your kids. How do you find balance with being in the present moment with your children, but also the driving force of the content creation that you have now with this empire you're creating, man? How do you find that balance?
It's tough. It's tough because you are, you eat what you kill in this game. You know what I mean? So it's like if I want to stop, I can stop at any time. And not do any of this stuff for weeks or months if I want to. But then it's like you're kind of starting all over again. And messing with your engagement and algorithms and whatever else, right? But sometimes, at the end of the day, you have to just remind yourself that none of that stuff is that important, even if it is bringing in, money from brand deals and sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. It's like you said, man, you get this finite amount of time with your kids as little kids. I mean, my daughter is almost 4.5. And, when I say that number, it doesn't seem that old. It's like, oh, she's just like a little girl. But I'm like, from what she was even like 6 months ago or 12 months ago, I'm like, no, she's like an adult. It's like, it's crazy how fast it happens. And nobody really warned me or prepared me for the beauty of parenthood, but the absolute heartbreak that comes with it. Yeah. Of every little stage, there's like so much grief when it comes to being a parent. When you're constantly grieving. Oh, she pronounces Minnie Mouse correct now. Damn, she used to always say Mimi, and now she says Minnie. It's like that. It's heartbreaking. It is. It's just a new chapter, like almost daily. Mm-hmm. To the point where you get onto a new book, and you're like, man, we're not even reading the same book as we were last year. We have new interests, we're smart, but then it's like also these scary things of like, now my daughter's in preschool and she's talking about oh, these two girls were mean to me and they said that I couldn't play with them, and I'm like, oh my God, it's starting already. Like your heart hurts for them, you know what I mean? Like I just want you to be innocent and just be a kid, and I know that's not realistic. I know you're not going to be a little kid forever. So I just, going back to your original question, is just trying to be consciously aware that this is not going to last forever. They will always be your kids, and you'll always be their parent, but they're never going to need you as much as they do right now in this season. And you just have to embrace it and just accept that this is it, and you're going to have all these beautiful memories to pull from when you're 80 years old and look back on this life, and just hope that it's not filled with regret, and just hope that it's filled with just just love and lots of memories.
I'm excited to hear your bars at 80 and what you're talking about.
Oh man, I know. I think about that all the time. I'm like, when I get gray hair, it actually might make it cooler.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Wouldn't it be a little more impressive to see like a 60-year-old man? I'm like, I can't keep doing this when I'm like 60, right? I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, anytime we haven't gone to raves in a long time, but there was a good chunk of time we were going to raves, And we'd see people in their 60s, 70s, 80s just out there getting it. And I was like, never stop. Never stop.
Yeah. Because that joy gave us so much joy just to see two people in their 70s just like, we don't care, like just
2:00 in the
getting
morning.
it. 2:00 in the morning, just getting it. And I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, they're always the ones, and they're always the ones too that help remind us. Like when you're out, I'm sure when you're out with your kid, if you're out getting coffee or donuts or whatever, who's staring at you misty-eyed from across the restaurant? It's always the 60, 70-year-old, because they're like, we had that and we don't have it anymore. We're so jealous of you. Or like there was that interview with Bob Odenkirk where he was like, someone asked him, who are you jealous of? And he was like, I'm jealous of people with small kids. And I was like, you don't realize that you're literally living in the good old days. Like these are the good old days right now. We're going to look back on these days, you know, not when we were in our 20s and partying and all like those. Yeah, those were fun memories. Like we'll have memories of that, but like these are the days that just mean the world to me, at least.
Facts. No, absolutely, I agree.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and I heard that quote as well, where he's just like, anybody who's still got it in front of them, where they're like, you're a dad, and that's your job is to be a dad and clean up after them. But also, just like, yeah, older people will look at us. You know, there's a post that I showed you, like I think last week, about like this little like story of, you know, a person's 80 and then they wake up one day and they're 33 again. And they're like, oh man, like I hear the pitter patter of little feet and these little hands are like, wake up. And, you know, they're bouncing around and, you know, my spouse is young and I hear from my parent and I get to hear their voice. Just all these little things where it's just like, there will come a day when it's all behind you. And right now there's so much in front of us. And so there's just so much, even when it's hard. Because I mean, like, I know like we've had a stressful stressful year or so. But even then, the worst day for that stressful year, there will come a time in the future where like our future self would give anything to just go back for one day to that time, just to be like, that was like, you had a stressful minute and you just carried it around too long. Like that. Now, when you're older, you can learn how to like, all right, who cares? I'm just going to be here right now in this moment. And so that was one of the things. So one of the questions that you guys sent over, was kind of like, what was like a aha moment or something like that when it comes to parenting. And that particular story, I've heard different, iterations of it, but that was going to be my answer was, you know, that person who, you know, you imagine yourself, that you're 80 and you get to go back in this time machine and like just do like a day over again. So anytime I'm having like a rough, afternoon with my daughter, let's say, you know, it's just like, man, you know damn well in 50 years, you're going to wish you could be driving around with her screaming in the back seat, losing her mind about not getting to go to Target and get a toy or whatever. You'd kill to hear her crying about that kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's just all about perspective. And I know I found when we first had, and again, having kids is rough. And I know, that first year can be tough, especially can be taxing on a marriage. And I feel bad for, you know, people that give up that early. Because it is hard. We all deal with it. You know, it's those who choose to fight and to stick it out. And just know that it's not always going to be like this. But you know, it's really difficult. And so I think, when you can get through, and make it through to the other side, it just makes it that much more beautiful where you still have your spouse, and your kids are grown, and now you collectively have all of these memories that, my parents were divorced, my wife's as well, and most people I know our age, honestly, parents were divorced, and so when I hear stories of my childhood, I hear my mom's version of it, I hear my dad's version of it, but never do I hear them tell it collectively, and it's never like this duet of a story where I feel like. That's all I want for my kids is when they're older is to have mom and dad together, still married, still very much in love, and get to talk about their childhood
and I share my perspective, and then mom's like, oh no, no, she was more, I think she was 10. And I said, oh, that's right, but remember she that was when she got that really bad haircut. Oh yeah, and you're just like, you don't, so many details probably get lost when it's just one parent trying to remember it themselves. But when you've got two parents kind of piggybacking off of each other and kind of reminiscing on stories and stuff, it's just, I don't know, it's just beautiful, and I love thinking about it, and also I'm in no hurry to get there. You know?
It's that balance of like, I'm excited, but not so excited that y'all need to grow up right now.
Right.
So.
No, not at all, not at all.
Because it is like you were saying earlier, it is hard when you're like, oh yeah, we're not reading that same book, or we don't have the same interests. But also like when you're talking about your daughter, like, oh, the two girls don't want to play with me. And it's that weird part of like, well, when now do you have these conversations about bullying? And even like we've had, conversations with our son about like consent and like showing people things. And just, it's that weird, like, you don't want to keep their head in the sand, but it's also, these need to be conversations that you have with them. And it's just heartbreaking when you're like, yeah, but we have to have them, and that sucks.
There will come a day when we don't have to talk to our son about not everybody can smack your belly. Like, it's just, he just wants to show you his belly. He's like, you want to smack my belly? And it's like, well, sure.
I mean, better that than the butt stuff.
Oh, the butt stuff.
The amount of
God.
stuff he's wanted to talk about his butt while eating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The poo poo pee pee caca kiki, all just like the silly. I'm like, what are you? Use words, kid. What are you talking about?
I think what was last night, he was eating dinner. He's like, I'm going to solve a problem with my butt. And I'm like, that's not a conversation we can have right now. And I know we're thinking different answers on what you mean by that.
I mean, he's not a Kardashian. So, I mean, that's sometimes your butt can make more problems, it turns out.
Right?
On the subject of just like kind of like millennial parenting, is there anything that sticks out to you? Like, because it seems like our generation is parenting differently.
Yes.
So, I mean, like, what do you think that is attributed to? And like, how does that, do you feel like you kind of fall in line with that style of parenting, or how are y'all doing it?
Yeah, I think so. My wife, I remember when we first had our daughter, she was reading up a lot about, she's like, there's this thing called gentle parenting. And I was like, okay. I don't know how gentle I'm gonna. I mean, I want to be gentle and I want to love our kids, but like I also want, you got to be stern too. At certain times, and I don't think we're even at that age yet where you really have to be super stern. My daughter's 4 and my son's 8 months old, but I think we did, lean into the gentle parenting thing, and I think it's because so many of us. We grew up in a time, and that's how we should constantly be evolving. And our kids will probably say things about us as parents that we're like, oh man, they were really insensitive. And we're like, really? Like that? Now we tried really hard. Like we stopped using the R word. We stopped calling people gay. Like we really tried. Like this was stuff that we just sort of, it was like no big deal. Like growing up.
You don't know what we sacrificed for y'all.
Yeah, we had to change our whole vocabulary because we didn't want to get canceled. But I think a lot of us just we grew up in a time where it was okay to kind of bully, and a lot of our parents, they were raised by people, and I think they kind of carried it on a little bit. They were raised by people where it was very much like appearances mattered very much. And so, even as serious as like, creepy uncle, with like sexual assault, sleepover type situations, I think a lot of our parents were so afraid to speak up and believe us because it was going to be embarrassing and it was going to make the family look bad and it was going to be awkward at Christmas. And they sweep stuff under the rug. And I think so many, especially millennial moms, had been either assaulted or abused or touched, looked at, any kind of way that made them feel gross. And it could have very easily been by a family member. And I think a lot of those moms now are like, hell no, that will not be happening to my child. Or even dads too, any of us. Yeah. I think that's the underlying tone and theme of it all, is like, that weird thing that happened to me when I was a kid, I'm going to make sure, in the best of my power, that will never happen to my child. no matter how extreme it was. Some people have it way worse, and those people are like, you will not be looking at my child. You're gonna watch how you speak to my child. You're gonna watch my child doesn't owe you a hug. My child doesn't owe you a kiss. All of these things that we're just trying to like right some wrongs and correct some things. And it's not a knock on our parents. I think they probably did the best that they could. They weren't intentionally trying to harm us. I think there was just this like lack of respect for children where we were treated like we were less than, where I think our generation looks at our kids like they're human beings and they should be respected and they have to earn that respect. But they definitely shouldn't be talked to like they're second-class citizens or like they're not real, humans because they're not adults. Like, you just have to have the perspective. Like, if your kid's having a meltdown over a toy and you think it's silly, sure, we can all agree, all of us adults can agree that a child having a meltdown about, not knowing where their favorite toy or lovey is, it's a little silly and it's not that big a deal. But to them, it's their entire world. Mm-hmm. That toy is their comfort. It is their best friend. It is it'd be like us if we lost, you had $1,000 in your pocket and you lost it. And you were like, oh, I lost my money. It's like, it's the same thing to them. It's the exact same thing. It's just, it's something that they really want and they really feel like they need and they don't have it,
Yeah. Well, and it's always the perspective of like their life up until that day. What's the worst thing that has happened to them? And like you said, what brings them comfort? What brings them joy? Mm-hmm. And so if you're just looking at those X amount of years, yeah, that probably was one of the worst things that happened up until that point. Yeah. If they're lucky, So.
That's how small their world is. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, and it's a tribute to you being as good of a parent as you can be, that the Steffi being gone is the worst thing that's ever happened.
That's the worst thing. That you're doing something right.
You're doing solid. You're doing solid. Because man, what you said about like the generations before us sweeping things under the rug because societal approval was the most important currency that generation had. As a millennial, I'm like, we can't afford a rug. Like, I'm not sweeping nothing. Is
this the machine washable rug?
Yeah. Like, what type of rug are we talking about right now? I'm not sweeping nothing under it, and I'm not going to sit here and care about what you think about me. I'm going to care about like what my kids think about me later. You know, I mean, like, being able to speak to the open lines of communication that we keep, the fact that we understand each other. There isn't a thing, and I think we were talking about this earlier this week. Like, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make sure that my kids felt seen, understood, cared about on my part. I mean, whatever that means. Like you had said, like in the future, our language could be really, really different and they don't know how we used to talk or what we used to be around. But if it comes down to a thing about like, hey, Dad, I didn't like that you did this or you said this, like, I can't imagine being in a position where it's like, well, you don't know what I've done for you and da-da-da-da, and not being like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. Let me try and see if I could do better and everything, For sure. So, yeah, man. I think that's all really, really important. But it sounds like you're killing the game. Sounds like you're doing a fantastic job with your little ones, man.
I am curious from like, so in our world with stand-up comedy, Miles and I have rules of like, hey, like if something happens, I'll be like, you can't talk about that on stage. No. That is a us thing. Are there things that your wife or kids have put in motion like, nope, that's not going to be a song. That's where we draw the line.
That's a good question. I don't think that's happened yet. I think there was one, the closest we got was I made a song for my daughter when she was, again, probably like 2. And it was to celebrate her going potty on the toilet. And so it was just, we call her name was Eliana, we call her Ellie. And the song was just, Ellie went pee-pee on the potty, and I did it to a beat, threw in some background vocals, did a whole thing, wrote a verse to it. It was cute, and I was like, oh, we should do this video, and obviously we're like, well, certainly we're not going to show her on the potty, like that's an easy one to agree on. But my wife was like, do you think like someday she's gonna look back on that video and be embarrassed that you were like celebrating her like going potty? And I was like, maybe, but like I don't. At this point, I don't think so. If she ever felt uncomfortable, by all means, I'll delete it. And I have a friend who I just did. So that song "Pink Toes" I was telling you about, that was like the first one that really did well. I did a remix to it like last week with this other dad who's a rapper. He goes by the name of Belief, and fantastic rapper, great dad. Oh yeah, you know him?
Yeah, I follow him too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love it. So, and same thing. His wife sent him my profile and was like, "You should do something with this guy." And so he was getting harassed about the fingernail polish too. And so he came to me. We did a remix to the song, and we just we put it out last week. Turned out really, really great. He's a fantastic artist and really, really good dad. But he was telling me his kids are a little bit older. And they have once a week, they have what they call content consent meetings, where he will bring because they I think they primarily do like YouTube as a family, and so he'll bring the video, the edit to the table to the whole family, put it up on the TV. Everybody watches the video, and then every single kid gets to say yes or no. And if there's a no, I didn't really like that shot of me because I was in my shorts, and I don't or I didn't like that because it seemed like I was crying and I don't want people to see me cry or whatever. And so he's like, all right, cool. If the kids don't want it in the video, it's not going in the video. And I thought that was really cool. And I think I'm not quite there yet. My daughter still does. And she knows, like, I'll be like, hey, we're going to do a music video. And she's like, all right, she has fun with it. There might come a day where she's like, I don't want to do that. And I'll be like, okay, fine. I guess your brother's up. Let's go. Bring the baby in.
Next.
Bring me that baby. I need me a prop. No, I think there'll be a day where they both are more than welcome to say, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's totally fine. And I also don't those videos of parents like posting videos of their kids crying and having meltdowns, and it's like you're gonna show the whole world.
Yeah.
Like a meltdown from when your kid was like 3 or 4 years old or even older. It's just like, I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to be that guy.
I love that you were even talking about the potty one because all my weeks, there was a week recently Miles was in Washington doing shows, and so I was solo, and so we had a lot of friends coming over to help me with things. And every night, our son will poop before he goes to bed, and that's just the ritual. But he'll be in there just singing at the top of his lungs, whatever is in his heart. And I think our friend was there like 2 nights in a row, and she's like, this is just a thing. And I was like, oh, I've been tempted to like record it from the couch, not like him on it, but just to hear it. But I've thought of that, of like, there's going to come a day where he's like, you really recorded me singing while I was pooping. So, well.
And it's like, homie, you used to sing while you poop. Like, he sings all the time.
What do you want me to do, man? This is gold. I have to at least record it for us.
You're funny, man. Like, I mean, you're killing the game.
Don't be so funny.
Yeah, don't be so hilarious. So, but I love the idea of a consent meeting, though. That's really fantastic because there's gonna come a point where they're old enough where they're just like, nah, I don't know if I'm
especially
about
this
that
generation.
life.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the thing this generation is gonna have, which is like, oh yeah, we were early on like being recorded for videos and content and things like that. And how do we feel about it now?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, being able to, I think it's just like we're a generation who's trying to practice the platinum rule, because I mean, like I had a joke about it in my Mr. Brightside special, I think, about like the golden rule is treat others the way that you want to be treated, but the platinum rule is like treat others the way that they want to be treated. And so, like, yeah, if your kids are like, oh, hey, yeah, no, maybe not that. It's just like, yeah, consent's important. Like, if you're not about that life. And my joke was just like the golden rule of like, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's like, we can't do that. Like, you're weird. You're into weird stuff. Like, I mean, what's okay for you might not be okay and drag and droppable for other people. And so that's where like constantly checking in, just like, hey, so this is what's happening. This is what it means. This is where it's going out to. Are you okay with all of this? What are you okay with? And constantly just trying to think about like, all right, well, what would they prefer in this moment is a huge thing, man.
I think you can look at it 2 ways. One, I get people maybe once a month or so that comment and they're like, oh, I can't stand when people use their kids for views. And I'm like, I'm not using my kids for views. This is all something that they they can very much consent to, or they can say, I don't want to do this, right? Does it make it more fun when the whole family's in on it? Of course. Do I know that if my daughter is in the video, the video might perform better because she's 4 and she's cute, and if I put her voice on the song, are people going to comment like, "Oh my God, that's so adorable! I love that." Yeah, I know all that stuff, but I don't do it because I'm like, "Oh, we got to try to recreate that magic that we got last time." I'm not chasing down views and follows and all that stuff, especially with my kid as a tool to do that. But the way I see it is, and I've had somebody tell me this perspective that made me feel a little better about it, is they're like, think about how cool it is when your daughter's like 18. She can look back and see all this fun you guys had together. Yes. All of these videos archived, whether it be Instagram or in the cloud or wherever it is, in 14 years. They'll be like, I don't have that. I mean, we all have our handful of home videos. They're not edited. There's no music to them. There's no cool transitions. There's no creativity. It's just it's just B-roll. That's all it is, right? And so if you're lucky enough as a 90s, 80s, 90s kid, you got some B-roll that then you have to go do something with. But now I'm like giving them a polished version of like, hey, here's a music video. Here's a whole song I wrote about you and how much I love you. And there's you in the video when you were just 4 years old. And look how much fun you're having. Look at the smile on your face. It's like this digital time capsule almost, and so that's the way I choose to look at it, is that we're just making these really awesome memories. And again, someday if that day comes where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, I'd rather just not be involved at all. Cool. No worries. I'm still a dad. I'll still find things to talk about. I'll still talk about you. You just don't need to be in the video.
Yeah. And I love that you were saying that. And it's funny because recently, like, our son's gone to more comedy shows with Miles, and now if you don't bring him on stage at the end, it's sacrilege.
Oh yeah, he's upset.
And so Miles, he's been practicing jokes because he wants to make people laugh and all of these things, and so now he has a couple jokes memorized. And so we had a clip that Miles posted of our son telling it, and somebody commented like, "Oh, you gotta love a prop comic." I'm like, he has 5,000 clips of no kid, and you put one of a kid, and you're gonna hold on to that one, of course.
Oh
yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Of course.
People get real shitty in the comments. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, it is a time capsule that we have, and the benefit of that is one of the benefits of social media is just like, yeah, we can look back and just be like, oh look, I mean, look how much I loved you, look how much I cared about you, look at the time we had, look at the fun we had. That's this generation's superpowers. We got CapCut. And our parents didn't have Adobe Premiere or any.
That's pretty much the biggest difference between our generation and theirs. Yeah, they didn't have editing software. That's all.
Yeah. Well, and it is nice, like, for me at least, when Miles is on the road, I have the luxury of putting up anything of Miles on TV and be like, here, there's Daddy. And that's not a luxury a lot of people have. So when he's missing, it's nice to have that.
Well, yeah, you'll put on my dry bar specials because those are kid friendly.
Even like the one of you shoving the pizza in your mouth, like, to super simple songs. He loves that one.
He loves that one, really?
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did a video about like how toddlers eat. And it's like they take these little tiny, like, lickable bites, and they do that for a while, and then it's like, and then it's just like all of it. And so, yeah, I did that. Oh, God, he was like 1 or something when I did that one. But he likes that one.
I did a reaction video to him watching that, and I posted that, too. It was like a year later.
That's so funny.
I also love when you were talking about just other dads that you're doing cross-promotion with. I love the idea of like a millennial dad boy band type thing on social media.
Yeah.
Of just everybody coming together. Because that's one of the things I told Miles when I found your stuff. I was like, oh, I think you guys would get along great. You guys are very similar. And so, yeah, I love the idea of just all these dads coming together.
The
on
Front
social
Street
media.
Boys.
Yes.
We're
out of sync.
Yeah,
Out of sync.
man, exactly.
So I love that you're doing that because, yeah, I think that catchy as hell, but like there needs to be more of it. Like we were saying at the top, like there needs to be more guys talking about it. And so I love that you're doing so much of that with other dads is great.
it's so cool to find other dads and other creators that are trying to do the same thing. Like I had a call earlier this morning with a guy. He's like he goes by Dad Braids on Instagram, and he just teaches dads how to braid their daughter's hair. And I was like, this is so cool and so wholesome and so like right up my alley. Like let's do something together, you know.
Miles is gonna go follow him right now.
Dad
Yes, yo,
braids.
dad braids, man. He's awesome. He does like workshops where he like will bring in like mannequins, and then you learn how to do it, or you just like learn right there on your daughter's head. That's like next level. That's what, like when you're a good dad, but like if you have a little daughter and you know how to braid hair, you are instantly catapulted into great status, like
I was telling
legendary.
Miles that I was like, you're gonna have to practice on my hair. So because she's gonna come out with a full head of hair. I did, our son did, so you can start right away. So
There you
be
go.
ready. So
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
fun. It's kind of fun. Especially when they're really little and the hair's not even that long. You can finally get it up in like those little tiny little piggies. Oh, I love it. Love it. I miss it. Her hair is like almost down to her butt. She's gonna get a haircut here in the next couple of days. But I just I love it, and I'm so excited for you, Miles, because I feel like I tell everybody that's having a girl. I'm so excited for men that get to have a daughter, because I think that every man should have a daughter. I think the world would be a much better place if every man had at least one daughter. But it's so sad because it goes back to like the Me Too movement, right? You had all these men coming out and being like, "Oh, I would never. I have a daughter. I have a sister. I have a mother." You shouldn't need a mother, sister, aunt, daughter, whatever. You shouldn't need to know a woman to like respect a woman,
Yeah.
you know. But unfortunately, going back to the point you guys made about like, oh, it's nice to hear a man talking about this, because sometimes men just need to hear from other men. I think it's true. Like when you talk about, and I know that they might mean well when they say it, but I hate hearing men say, oh, I would never do that. I have a daughter. I have sisters. It's like, you don't have to say that. You can just say like, I would never do that. I respect women. Period.
I have a heart. End of story.
I've seen
Period.
women before.
Yeah.
Women are actually pretty cool. I've spoken to a few. Yeah, they're dope. Yeah,
Gotten to
it's very
share a
interesting.
meal with one or two, dare I say. Like, I mean,
Right?
maybe we should listen up and share the respect, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're sharing the planet with us. Might as well. So
Yeah, and
Right.
women do so much more than we do. It's not even funny. I mean, bringing life into this world. How dependable I feel like women can be in a tough situation. I feel like women just don't give up. I don't know. I have this brand new appreciation for my own mom, for my wife, for my daughter. I had a conversation last night before bed with my wife, and I was like, I said, let's say you go to Target, right? And you go by yourself. I was like, how often when you're in Target, and I'd love to hear your answer too, um, as an attractive woman, you're in Target, you're walking around. I was like, how often do you get like, you feel like guys are like looking at you and you just don't really like it? And she was like, every time. And I was like, really? Damn. I go, how many times do you feel like that guy's being weird? I want to stay away from that guy. She was like, probably 9 times out of 10. I was like, really? That's awful. How many times do you walk to your car at Target and look over your shoulder and make sure that he's not following you to your car? She's like, every single time. And I was like, what an existence that must be. Those are things that we don't even consider as men. We don't even like, we're like, one time I went on a solo trip when I first met my wife to Cuba, and I was like, babe, it's amazing. You should go travel alone. And she was like, I can't do that. And I was like, why not? She was like, because I'm a woman. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like these are things that men don't think about very regularly, but it's like women, my heart, like, it was like shocking and heartbreaking. I was like, you literally walk to the car, like with your keys in your fist, your hand on your mace, looking over your shoulder, just waiting for somebody to come attack you because some dude was following you around the store at Target. And she's like, yeah, most times.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, I can't.
Your head is on a swivel at all times. But even, I mean, down to like where I park, and like if I see a car that has the baby on board sticker, I'm going to park next to it over other cars. And that's just because I'm going to trust that if they're a parent, they're a little bit more safer for me to be near and pass going through. But yeah, I mean, there's times if there's parking far away, I'll loop again to see if there's closer, just off of safety reasons. But yeah, I mean, your head's on a swivel, and we were just talking about this the other day of like, as a woman, when you get in the car, the first thing you do is lock the door.
Yep.
You don't check your phone. You don't even turn it on. Like, you lock it right away, and then you do whatever else you need. When I was telling him, I'm like, most guys, they'd probably send out a text, count their money, do all these things just in the car unlocked.
I've done all of those things in an unlocked car. Like, yeah. What did I do at the ATM that one time that I got back in the car and you're like, what are you doing?
He was at the ATM pulling out money, and he was maybe sending a text or on social media. I don't know, but he was on his phone at the ATM. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then he got in the car, and at the same time, a girl walks up to the ATM with a Rottweiler on a leash. I'm like, that's how you go to the ATM. That is how you do it. Nothing else is important at the ATM. You do what you got to do, and you beeline to the car. Like, your phone could stay in the car, really. Like,
and if you can bring the beast from the Sandlot with you to the ATM, more power to you. Like, that's just what you have to do. And so, yeah, no, I didn't know the privilege of being a man and sending a text message at the ATM. Like, we genuinely don't understand how privileged we are, how good we got it, in the sense that we don't feel, I mean, like, hunted feels like an aggressive word, but I mean, in a way, like that's what it is. So it is a struggle, and I know you've been through enough that you know that to be true.
Yeah, well, and there's a system to everything. I was even telling Miles when I found out I was pregnant, and like, now it's a whole system of putting 2 kids in the car when you're by yourself and figuring out how to navigate that as a woman, that I feel like a lot of people don't think about. And so I started going over safety with my son, and hands on the car the whole time while we're like, I'm getting anything in the car, and he doesn't leave touching the car until he's inside. And so, yeah, you're finding out systems as a woman that I feel like a lot of guys don't have to.
No, unfortunately. And so I've been trying to come up with that. I get these ideas, whether it be from a conversation like this, or I see something on social media or whatever, and or a conversation with my wife, and it just makes me be like, oh yeah, this is a topic that people would actually want to hear about. You know, this is something that people would want to discuss, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to do, is get a conversation started, or open somebody's eyes to be like, hey, did you know that women like are constantly in a state of like fear and like on guard at all times, like never get to kind of let their guard down until they like are home, you know? And it's just, it's crazy. It's absolutely wild. And that was when I really first started to understand like the female experience. And I was like, man, this is, which is part of why I do what I do. And I kind of write the music that I do, is I'm like, I've had this awakening. I've had my eyes open to what, this world really is, and how this world views and treats, women, and especially mothers too, you know, like you'd think that a mother would be like one of the most protected, you know, people on all of the planet. And, it's not the case, at least not in this country. And
I mean, we are until the baby comes out, and then we're expected to bounce back a week later.
Right.
Like,
whole pregnancy. I know, it's like you're like this fragile thing, right? Like you're this fragile thing that's carrying around life, and then as soon as you pop it out, it's like, I had a line in a song. It was like everybody's checking on mama, nobody's checking on mama after the due date. You know, like everybody wants to hold the baby, but like, nobody's checking on mom. You know, nobody's making sure she's good. So if I could do anything, it's just to open some eyes on the male side, or just make some women feel supported and seen and heard, and just know that what they're saying, their cries and their tears and their complaints and their their expression doesn't fall on deaf ears, at least not on this side.
I mean, you're doing amazing things. You are starting probably more conversations than you realize. I don't even know about just in this country, but in the world. And like, I think it's also interesting for people to be able to compare in different cultures and different countries of how things are, because you are really hitting the nail on the head of how things are here, at least. And so
Yeah.
I think there's so much to be said on that. So you are doing amazing things, and thank you for all that you're doing and bringing so many
Appreciate
people together and making women feel seen in a time where, yeah, we're not very seen.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're killing it, man. We really appreciate the space that you take up because it's very meaningful to like all the right people. And you're doing great as a husband, an understanding male, and as a father. So, keep on
I really
trucking,
appreciate
man.
that, guys. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys seeing that because I've definitely been working hard at it, and it's like I said, it's something that I really want to. I want to walk in. I don't want to just talk about it. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm not going to be one of those people that ends up. Oh my gosh, Dad got bars got canceled because he did this. That's not me. I'm trying to be the most authentic version of myself and just try to be the best version I can be. And I think doing this is making me a better husband and a better dad. And I just think it's only you can only get more aware and more conscious of everything and what people are going through. Empathetic, I think, is probably is a good word, and just trying to be relatable too.
yeah. Well, and I think one of the coolest things for your kids is when they are old enough to understand everything you're doing, for them to be like, that's my dad. That's what he tried to do. That's the mark he tried to leave on this world. And you're doing it. You're doing it. And so I think it's going to be a really cool thing for them also when they're old enough to realize everything you're doing.
Empathy and authenticity is the currency.
Yes.
I think, man.
Absolutely.
That's where it's at, man.
And you can't teach it.
You can't teach that. Exactly. Well, I mean, I thank you for joining us
Yeah,
today,
thank
man.
you
This
so
has been a great
much.
conversation. I'm gonna have to keep writing from an empathetic and authentic place myself for my next comedy special. I'll try and tap you to do the song.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, what if Bret could do your walkout song for your next comedy special? Because so much has been about
That's
dad
what my
stuff.
manager was saying. I'm down. Let's link up, man. I've watched some of your clips on Instagram, man. I thought there was a couple of really clever, funny clips that I saw. So I like what you're doing, man. So let's link up, man. Dads unite.
Yes.
Yes, we'll get rings. We'll get rings and we'll activate, man. Hell yeah. Homie.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. All right, Bret. Well, before we go, do you want to let everybody know where they can follow you on social media? And if you want to plug anything exciting you got coming up, feel free.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's Dad Got Bars. I got a song coming out next Friday. I try to drop new music every Friday. I call it a Fresh Drop Friday. I got a new song coming out this Friday called Spilled Milk, all about a husband spilling breast milk from his wife. It's a fun one. And then next Friday, I've got a song coming out called Child Support. And that one is all about a vow that I've made to my wife and my kids to never pay child support.
I love that.
I love
that. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Hell yeah. Well, make sure y'all go follow him online. Bret, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate you, man. And thank y'all for watching and listening. Like, subscribe, share, do all the fun things, and let us know what you thought about the episode. And we will see y'all next time. Bye.